Sweden is a racist country. That is how I would like to begin my talk about feminism today. The racism in your country made me think long and hard about coming here. My fellow speakers, Tiina, Diana, Lawen, are the reason that I am here. I would like to thank you and applaud your perseverance and engagement. I humble and I blush before you. Thanks to all of us for creating this space in which we can imagine a different future than the one introduced to us in the present. Thanks to the fighting feminist movement for securing my safety while I'm here with you today. Thanks for all of the temporary political truths in the name of the revolution. And thanks to the artists for continuing to communicate, for changing the world and making it a more interesting place. And finally, thank you to all of you for coming. It feels good to be in a room full of queers. You make me feel all normal. So I'm speaking to you this afternoon as one of the leftovers, one of the weirdos, the ones who shave their heads, those who don't know how to dress, those who worry that they stink, those who have rotten teeth, the ugly ones, the old hags, the dykes, the frigid, the unfucked, and the unfuckable. The neurotics, the psychos, the fat tarts, the skinny sluts. Those who have big bellies, those who would rather be men, and those who act as if they were men. The ones with big asses, noisy women who destroy everything that comes their way, those whose shyness is due to their hang-ups, those who don't know how to say no, and those who are locked up to be controlled. Women with scars, pitiful ones, women who don't turn men on, those with flabby skin and wrinkled faces, those who dream of plastic surgery and liposuction, of having their nose broken to be reset, but they can't afford it. Women who look like the back of the bus, those who can only rely on themselves for protection, who don't know how to comfort others, who could care less about their kids. We often hear that the deconstruction of essentialized identities, which results in the acknowledgement of the contingency and ambiguity of identity itself, renders feminist political action impossible. Many feminists believe that without an existence of woman as a coherent category, we cannot imagine the possibility of a feminist political movement in which women could unite as women in order to formulate and pursue specific feminist aims. To the contrary, I argue, the deconstruction of essential identities is a necessary starting point for those feminists who are committed to a radical democratic politics, because it highlights the variety of social relations in which the principles of liberty and equality should apply. Let's demand that we locate our political identity between what we have inherited and what is not yet born, between what we can only imagine and the histories that constrain and shape that imagination. This is a notion of political identity quite at odds with an identity shaped by social coordinates. You see, essentialism is like dynamite or a powerful drug. Judiciously applied, it can be effective in dismantling unwanted structures or alleviating suffering. Uncritically employed, however, it is destructive and addictive. Let me repeat that. It is destructive and addictive. That's why we need to use essentialism with care. We need to use it temporarily, and most importantly, we need to use it strategically. Strategic essentialism is like role-playing, briefly inhibiting the criminal mind in order to understand what makes it tick. The strategic essentialist should act as a good lawyer. When on defense, prod the prosecution's narrative until the cracks begin to appear. And when prosecuting, piece together a case by understanding the criminal's motivation. We need to be alert. We need to decide quickly and without fear or guilt when we need to essentialize ourselves and say yes to a group identity to reach a particular political goal in a particular situation, in a particular space, at a particular time. We also need to learn when to say no. We need to distinguish when naming works emancipatorily and leads to increased agency, and we need to learn when it does not. And when we do name, we shouldn't be content with naming just a few. Lesbians, lumpenproletariats, Southern Cameroonians, gay men, trashy chicks, papans, bisexuals, Assyrians, trans men, Celts, class, travelers, Bakassi people, trans women, queers, fags, Innu people, dykes, the underprivileged, the muff divers, Inuits, refugees, the shabby chic, bull daggers, the leisure class, queens, men's, Amarans, drag queens, drag kings, Han Chinese, flaming queens, trannies, Afro-Arabs, fairies, gym boys, Lakota Sioux, boxing boys, Romas, boxing girls, the middle class, pitchers, catchers, Sami people, butchers, dead ones, cosmopolitans, boys, F to M's, M to F's, the middle class to working class to underclass, East Indians, old maids, Kurds, Miss Kittens, Dear Johns, subalterns, the upper middle class, Creoles, inverts, perverts, Pacific Islanders, the sans papiers, girlfriends. Rohingya people, drag queens, prom queens, drag kings, women, Cherokees, happy people, nouveau rich, alien sexualities, hipsters. Tamil people, small bourgeois, freaks, Caucasians, lower working class, the criminals, Faroe Islanders, suicidals, the arty trashy, the lower middle class, Tutsi Rwandans, gender benders, slaves, the working class, losers, Hutu, upper class, upper middle class, Dimasi people, mestizos, the white trash, Tibetans, the aristocracy, the filthy rich, Sikhs, Uyghurs, clandestinos, other genders, Palestinians, the undocumented Afro-Latinos, nouveau poor, global workers, seasonal workers, the privileged, the low class, and the no class. I mean, who wouldn't go to such a bar? Unfortunately, this is but a fantasy in your somewhat underdeveloped part of the world. You know, people on the left in the US look to you for an alternative way. And I say, no. To look to Europe at a time like this would be looking right, and right is the wrong way. 3 worlds or 4 are always better than 1. Now that's what I always say. I'm serious. Everyone I just called out. You Europeans need us all. Social, cultural, and economical sectors, all parts of your union, need a more heterogeneous population. If you don't act and make allies transnationally, locally, you're going down. You're going down. I mean, I'm surprised you all are still alive. For real, look around for a second. Go ahead, look. Damn, what a pale bunch. I realize that there are those of you who recognize that you recognize this and who join us as we work collectively towards a more diverse and multiple world. And we will stick together. We'll find each other even in a place like this. Because we are the people. We are the people. We are not rational nor dignified. Dreams, unhappiness, rage and anger, all over the architecture here. This place is nothing more than a set of parentheses on the excitement that you call your lives. You know, often when we get invited to lecture at institutions like this one with a big I, we have a bad taste in our mouths, right? We feel exhausted from the ambivalence that such an invitation brings. Does anybody know, does anyone recognize that feeling? We got a couple of gigglers out there, so I'm gonna take that as a yes. Yeah? We are the people in the house, and this is our house. So what do we want, and what do we do? Let's scream too loud together and let our high-pitched voices crack the windows in this fancy building. Let's turn these walls into overcooked spaghetti, soggy and easy to tear. Let the ceiling peel away like skin that's been exposed to too much sun. Or we can command over this space. We can take command of this space. We can have our meetings here. We can order pizza. We can stay the night. This is our house. We can decide if we want this to be the beginning or the end. We can decide who gets to use this space and who doesn't, who is included and who is excluded. For us, social injustice is a collective problem, and it requires a collective solution. We have feminism, and we have places where we can have these meetings. We don't have to participate in capitalism. We are communists. We fight capitalism. We want a revolution. Using words such as communism, class struggle, and revolution will qualify you for a free consultation with your local therapist, which is actually not so bad. In fact, one of our demands is a president that has been to therapy, has cross-dressed and misbehaved. Someone who has been in love and been hurt, who respects sex, who made mistakes and learned from them. Someone who is bent just as much on destruction as survival. We want a black woman for president. We want 3 presidents or none at all, whichever comes first.